Good morning, traders, and welcome to the Tuesday Outlook and Setups. Um, I think this week might be a bit slower, not as fast or not as nice as last week or the previous weeks. So we'll just have to pay attention and to make sure that we take good setups and not waste our money or capital on low probability trades. So let's start off the 1 hour. Yesterday we had this nice retracement trade towards the downside into a 1 minute order block after we reacted off of a 15-minute zone in here and then just got the confirmation entry and we took the trade towards downside. As you can notice that we've been staying in between the high and low of the previous day. So we created the high, we created the low, and then we just stayed within that range. So I think the chances are relatively good that today we will seek the liquidity above either the high or the low. I'm not yet sure which one. I am favoring more this one just because of how we have impulse to move towards the upside. We broke structure, looking for that pullback, and then the continuation further towards the upside. And my overall bias is bullish, so I think upside liquidity to be taken is possible, or eventually the end target. That does not mean that we can't first take the liquidity down here and then move up higher. I think that's also a very, very, very high probable chance that we will do something like this before going towards the upside. Because of NFP this week, price does move more erratic and impulsively and feels like it's unpredictable. So let's predict the unpredictable, if it makes sense. So this was the 1 hour. Let's look at the 15-minute weekly. We have the Asian high and low marked out. We've already pushed above the Asian high. So we could potentially see this now, the liquidity above the Asian high taken, and we are reacting off of this candle to the left. It's not a full body candle, so it's not for me a really tradable candle. You could trade it, but whatever. We see a reaction off of it. So now the question will be: will there be a follow through? Meaning, will price break the previous level of demand? Let's just make this gray again. So let's say this is our demand buy area because it's the last candle before the up movement that broke the structure. So this would technically be the area to look for buys. But now, if we break this area, then this zone is validated and we can then look for potentially something like this and then take a short down. But just also be careful that price could potentially just sweep this low into something over here and then continue up as well again. So in this type of market conditions, I think it's safer to take 10-15 pips and be done. Small gains will build the account as well. So rather focus on small gains than trying to take 200 pip moves. Otherwise, if you want to take 200 pip moves, then you shouldn't be on the 15 minutes or 5 minutes. You should just be focused 1 hour and higher time frames. Entries on the 1 hour, bigger stops. But then you'll catch that massive pip movements. But we know it's not about pips, it's about risk to reward and how we can squeeze some profits out of the market in a short period of time and then be done with the day. So this blue line is just London Open. I have that now marked in on my 15-minute time frame. I can see the London Open over there, and ideally I would look for reactions and price reach my level around this blue line. So that's just what I have it on there. You can see in the past as well where it reacted, and you see impulsiveness and movement. Okay, so the next thing that we need to look at is if price does not break this area, we see a rejection over here and we see price playing around and we see price going up, then there will no follow through from this order block, and then this order block is weak. So then this would be a weak high, So the chances of a weak high gets broken. So then the chances are good that we can see price breaking this high and move up higher towards the target, which is that area. So looking for price to come down here and potentially show us a reaction. So that's option number one, and then go up higher. Option number two would be for price to first sweep the low, which is this low over here, and then give us a reaction, creating some structure, maybe play around a bit, and then we see the move towards the upside. So that's option number two. And then the third and final one, I'm going to just delete this again. I hope you can remember. The final one is if price completely breaks down below this area, breaking structure, and then see price pulling back towards a new created order block, something in this area, and then see price moving down lower potentially. Sorry. So that is the two the three scenarios that I'm looking at. I have what I showed you first. 1 and 2 is like the favorites, but I need to, like, before I take a trade from here, if it just dumps now, I'm definitely not going to take a trade now before this blue line has hit, because price could definitely make big movements around this area in time. So I'm not going to be looking to be in the market before that, especially with the three scenarios that can still play out. So I don't want to be in a trade over here when price can still move and at this time make a move up and then down and then up again. So that's what I'm kind of expecting, for price to take liquidity on both sides, make everyone confused, and then choose the right direction, which I hope to be upside, because I've been feeling upside potential. But I'm not going to be worried if I'm wrong. It is what it is. So we'll just see what we can trade and then make the best of it. So this is the 15-minute time frame. Hope it makes sense and how I look at it. Please let me know in the comments or in the chat, what is your thought, guys? Do you agree with this thought process and analysis? Would be interesting. We can just have a quick look at the 1 minute. So in the 1 minute, we can already see that price has now created a shift in the market structure, and there is our last lows. That would be the structure break would be down there, and potentially then if we strongly break this low, then definitely seeing a bit more continuation down and then into this gray zone that we have marked over here, which is our 15-minute area. Have some imbalance here as well. We have some trend line liquidity here as well. So there's a few things aligning for us. But as you can see, price is still struggling and not really yet intent on making a strong, clean break below. So that means that we a bit more still indecisive, I think. In 1 5 minute, we can see that we've done. It will be interesting to see if the DXY also made a higher high on the 5 minute time frame. Okay, not a higher high, higher low. Yes, and it as well. So it is in confluence with each other currently still. This one looks like it's moving up a bit, and this one moving down. So we'll see how far it goes, and then I'll monitor this area and be looking at price action there to see if we would potentially get an entry. But as I said before, this is not for me an ideal candle. It's not a full body candle. So in this case, this black candle for me is a better candle, better full body candle, and then I would take it like this and take 50% of it. So in the middle would then possibly be the area that I would be looking at for price to give me a reaction. What am I doing now? Anyway, so that is then where I would be looking for price to give me a reaction. Otherwise, as I said, the sweep. Okay, let's jump to GU. Okay, very quick look at GU as I'm not liking it too much. We have this very clear 4-hour area down candle and this big up movement, and then we also have this relative equal lows. I would say that is liquidity for me. We had them over here as well, series of equal lows, and we've tapped into that liquidity, but with no big response towards the upside. So if we're looking for EU to go higher, we would kind of expect GU to do the same, but it's also a general thing these days that GU is not exactly moving the same as EU, so we can't really compare the two. You can't compare apples with pears. So it's definitely two separate instruments, and we have to treat them like that as well. But I do also recommend not trading both of them at the same time. I've done that mistake a few times and it doesn't work out well. Remember how I've spoken a lot about GU going for 1 hour imbalances. There we had it again. 1 hour imbalance, tapped into it more than 50%, but we tapped into it and then we had this nice move towards the downside, aiming for the sell side liquidity. That is over there. So we can see price is respecting bearish order flow currently on the 1 hour, because bearish order flow, all that I mean by that is saying that it's respecting bearish movements and bearish sentiment. It's keeping in that direction. So if we just look at the 15-minute quickly, what is the story over here? So our Asian high and low. Okay, we already swept the Asian high, which is interesting, and then our Asian low over there. Just for completeness sake, we had a sweep of that low, a high. Still moving relatively sideways. Nothing super clear for me. I like the tightness and the range on the Asian session. So we might see a nice expansion today, but if you look at this, take this away. If you look at this structure and you look at EU, it just feels cleaner. EU, I think. I don't know why, but it just feels like higher probability setup. But we never know. We can still see some great things happening on GU today. Maybe even later. Let the dust settle first. So let's just also quickly put these lines in, the London Open lines from 9 to 9. I'm just saying London Open, so the template is saved. It's locked. Okay, so we have now a line when the session will be opening, and we can then particularly look for things over there. You see if you go on the 1 hour, the line is gone because it's only set to be on the 50-minute and lower. So GU, I'm not absolutely 100% sure. This price action is really messy. You can see actually just this whole box is messy and it's not really ideally tradable. So yeah, we're gonna have to be really picky on which setups we decide to take. We can't just take anything because we can get burnt. Because of, I believe NFP will make cause some movements where we see up and down, and then you think it's short, and then you think it's long, and then it goes up, and then you could go also. It just can be completely mind-boggling and confusing. So we do not want to be on the wrong side. So let's wait. Really pay attention to what price is telling us, and then make an informed decision before entering any trades whatsoever. So let's just be careful of that. And look at that. So I'm not going to say too much more about GU. I don't want to lead anyone on a false path. There's no nice full body smaller candles on the 50-minute over here. Perhaps we can actually maybe say that this whole candle range could be something to look at, and then 50% of that. So that's something to keep in mind. But don't get stuck with it and don't get married to it. Anything can still happen. Yes. So we're still in this range, even though we had this wick above the high, we're still stuck in this Asian range. So let's see how price then develops further during the day. Hope you all have a great trading day. It's going to be maybe a bit slower today because of NFP this week. So don't expect too much. Keep your expectations low. Manage your risk and manage your exposure. Have a great day and see you again.